Hey everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're doing great. I want to talk to you about cult psychology, and I've been trying to make a video more short and concise. It's been kind of challenging because I'm taking um, a video of Leo Gura's called Cult Psychology and trying to condense this 2 hour long topic into like 5-10 minutes, and it's been really challenging. So I'm going to jump straight into it and try to just do a quick summary of his teachings. My main point is going to be, how do you avoid falling for a cult? So, what is a cult? A cult is this hierarchical system. Okay? Cult is like short for culture, but it's kind of like a toxic culture, right? Where the top of the pyramid, it's like a pyramid scheme in a sense. The top of the pyramid, the boss, is leeching off of everyone else under him. So him and then his main lieutenants are leeching off of the structure. And so it creates this toxic type of situation. And you might say, well, isn't all of business like that? It is to some extent. But what really separates a cult from a non-cult is a few really key defining factors. And of course, there are some cults that are less maniacal and manipulative and dangerous, and then there's ones that are more. So, but noticing when someone is trying to take advantage of you is the most important part of this discussion here. Not to get scammed, not to get schemed, to fall for an organization that promises something, right? And actually might even deliver on some of it. But then underneath, with the sleight of hand, they are manipulating you and taking your money, deluding you, tricking you into thinking that there's this higher purpose, but the actual purpose of the organization is just to feed the people at the top of the pyramid. So, a hierarchical organization created by some like narcissistic, charismatic leader, and they're using mind control techniques, right? Nothing fairy tale like, but psychological techniques that actually work to amass power, money, sex, egoic desires. A lot of this is from Leo's teachings, so it's a summary on that. The cults will lure you in with genuine spiritual insight and self-improvement. So they'll use techniques that are valid. But then what happens is they twist these techniques around and they use them to manipulate you. And so you have to be very, very careful if you fall into, one of these situations. No matter how smart you think you are, these techniques will work on you. No matter how woke you are, how intelligent you are, these techniques will work on you. Unless you know how to spot and avoid them, or to see them before they have been done to you. Because it's not like the techniques are not valid spiritual techniques. People use them for positive, things. And you might gain a lot of positive benefits. But in the long run, right, if you stick with an organization that is a cult, in essence, they will rob you of everything eventually, leaving you kind of broke, dead. So there are different types of cults. There's like religious cults, new age cults, educational, self-improvement, political cults, commercial MLM schemes, multi-level marketing schemes. Many of you guys might have fallen into one of those accidentally, like gone to one of those meetings and then you're like, hopefully you didn't take the bait. But a lot of people do, because if you need money, if you are desperate, right? Like a lot of us are, just to kind of like, Can I just get out of this like grind, the rat race? This seems like a really great idea. They make it seem like a dream, like it's so easy, right? But only very few people find success with that, and it's only from the failure of all the other people that that success is reached. So, can you win the lottery? Yeah, but chances are you're just gonna fail, and you're gonna lose a lot of money in the process. So cults will often be a mixture of a lot of these different, types that I listed here. They use the mind's tendencies. They will exploit tendencies of our minds, um, to exploit us. So you're not too intelligent to fall for these things. You will fall for them unless you know what to look for, and that's what I'm going to be going over here. So let's define characteristics of a cult. They make you depend on them for financial, emotional support. They will try to be that like father figure that you need in your life. Like all advice comes from them kind of deal. Watch out for that. And again, with all these that I'm gonna list, it's not enough to see one thing, right? Any company will have one or two of these things, but if you're seeing multiples of what I'm throwing out here, then you want that red flag should go up. Like, I need to do more research. They will undermine your ability to think independently. All knowledge, like right knowledge, things like wisdom, all come from the cult. All come from the organization. They know best. People outside are a bunch of whack jobs. That will be that black and white kind of thinking. There's a strong emphasis on recruiting, so you feel like you're doing the right thing. They're gonna eventually, as you step up the ladders, which is another part of the cult, there's always these ladders of like you getting to the next level, and as you get up to a few levels up, they're gonna start asking you to like, hey, get your like buddy to join us, right? Become part of the A team. Watch out. So their missions, cults' missions, will always be portrayed as this benevolent, like we are the seekers of God's wisdom, and trying to rid the world of evil, and we together have come together at just the right time. It's like fucking Fantastic Four, the Avengers, right? like, so be careful with that. If it's this like us versus them, we have come together to save the universe, to save the children, the puppies, the plants of this life. Be careful. They're giving you this fake life purpose, right? Because maybe you have not developed your own life purpose at the moment, and they're gonna exploit that and be like, yeah, we know exactly what you need to be the hero in your life. Come take the torch. We have the perfect position for you. Ha! We march along, So watch out. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this subject for some reason. I don't know why. I kind of touched on this a little bit, but they engage in a lot of black and white thinking, right? This is good. This is bad. Organization is fighting for good. The people that are against the organization or don't understand the organization, they're a bunch of idiots. They don't know what they're doing. You are going to save mankind. They are normies. Let's see. I'm skipping over a lot of topics here because I want to try to keep it short, but I will link the video so you can see the full video, 2-hour video, and get a more in-depth talk. And I might do a more in-depth talk myself in the future. Subtle psychological mind control techniques. Proven mind control techniques that work. They will use them to get you into this organization. So they will slowly manipulate you with mind control techniques. Things like opening yourself, becoming vulnerable, using guilt, shame, all these things that the mind can fall for very easily. They will use them. They will use them indiscriminately, and you will never know. It will go right under the radar. They will try to use those mind control techniques as well to tell you, to reduce your guilt or shame if ever they want you to do something that goes against your conscience. So they'll be like, no, the reason you feel bad about doing this, or you feel like you can't do this, is because you haven't gotten to that next level. You still early in your spiritual path, so go practice some more of these breathing exercises or visualization techniques to overcome the ability to the blockages that you are feeling. So be careful when this kind of manipulation is being done. You are not, you are being manipulated here if they're telling you to, ignore your guilt, your shame, your feeling of your uncomfortableness in a situation. Don't ignore that. They will try to pull you away from feeling your inner, what your inner gut tells you. Always go with your inner gut. They will appeal to your lower consciousness emotions, fear, guilt, and shame. So they will shame you, they will guilt you, but it'll be a slow process, right? At first, they're gonna just throw a bunch of love and support and everything beautiful your way. Eventually, they're gonna start using fear and guilt and shame to try to get you to do things that you might not want to do. So these are things you definitely need to watch out for. There'll often be a public confession of sins and stuff like that, public confessions of stupid shit that you've done, and then of course you'll be recorded, which you probably signed a consent form early on for that you didn't read, and then they'll have that, and they can blackmail you if they need to prevent you from leaving, prevent you from speaking bad about the cult. They will train you to suppress negative emotions and feelings, similar to the guilt and shame I talked about earlier. They'll have a very tight schedule to keep people busy so that they're not asking too many questions, they're not thinking critically, so that they're not, fully aware. You'll be tired, you'll be overworked, and you'll be getting into this grind. It's just like long hours of work without pay. You're just focused on this mission, but you're not seeing clearly because they're keeping you so busy. Again, though, recruiting members is huge. They'll love bomb you for a few weeks. This is a big one. It's a common tactic where they'll shower you with love and acceptance and everything, and it'll last for a few weeks or months, and then eventually that'll all end. So be careful when you're being, love bombed. Long hours of grueling work. Loose and careless polygamy, or multiple wives. If you see if you research and you see that this goes on at the higher levels, be very, very careful. Leaders usually have a very shady background, so if you do research and you find they have a shady background, you should be doing research on the leaders. Be careful. That's another red flag. They will try to manipulate your relationships, and regular companies will not do this. They won't try to get you to look at people outside of your company as lower or unintelligent, but a cult will. They will try to manipulate your relationships. There will be information control, right? Kind of similar to a dictatorship. They don't want you looking outside and possibly thinking on your own. They want you to get all your information from them. If you leave, They try to plant seeds in your head. Again, more psychological brainwashing. Try to plant seeds in your head that if you ever leave, that you'll be a loser. You will never be happy. You won't find love. You won't become awakened. That you won't have purpose, and just keeping you in this fear state so that you stay with them. Very toxic. They spend a lot of time manipulating their own public self-image too, because they probably have a lot of shady shit that happens, and then people leave the cult and maybe talk bad about it, so they have to spend a lot of money to cover that up and just send out a bunch of positive things about themselves, so that gets people's attention. Because as they're losing people, when people eventually realize the bullshit that they're in, they need new people to keep the organization running, because it's going to collapse if it doesn't have constantly get influx of new, ripe minds for the taking. So if you find yourself in one of these cults, educate yourself, reach out to people that maybe have been in this situation in the past. There's a lot of books. Research the cult, admit that you're in a cult, forgive yourself, don't beat yourself up, love yourself, be happy that you figured it out, leave, get the fuck out of there, do your own spiritual work, meditate, listen to music, whatever gets you in a state of love and happiness, do that for yourself. And beware of the internet. The internet is full of scammers and cults, and just before you get too excited and send your money anywhere, you need to really try to understand who this is, what they want, why they want it. Just get all the information you can, get reviews. We have a lot of information online. Use it to your advantage. Don't fall for it. Okay? Much love. I hope this helps someone out there not fall for a cult, and keep living, loving, leveling up. I love you all. Take care.